materials, you'll need ribbon, and we have a rainbow of ribbon here. The widths are either 1/4 inch or 5/8 inch, it doesn't matter, maybe whatever you have already in your collection. And we just did all the colors in the rainbow and we added in a gold. You'll also need bangles. These bangles are from the mall, from a popular young person's store at the mall. We bought them pretty inexpensively, 3 inches across. These are just cheap little bangles. We have bicones, and we chose bicones in colors that went with our ribbon. They're either 3mm or 4mm. You don't have to be too specific about that. And some gold charms, and also some gold look wire. This is 26 gauge wire that we're going to use. For tools, you'll need fabric glue. We like Fabri-Tac by Beacon Adhesives. You'll need your jewelry tools. That's your chain nose pliers, your round nose pliers, and your wire snips. And we're also going to use scissors. The first thing we're going to do is wrap a bangle with ribbon, and we have about a 30-inch length of ribbon here we already cut. And we're going to start the ribbon on the bangle by putting a little dollop or little dab of our fabric glue just right on the metal of the bangle, and then we're going to touch the ribbon to it and then just start wrapping. I have to hold it there while it sets up, but then I'll keep wrapping. And then wrapping is just as simple as going around and around like that. Cover a little bit of the ribbon as you go, so you're kind of covering 1/4 or 1/2 of the ribbon as you lay it down. That's why we had to use so much ribbon. That's why we cut off a long piece. So you can see I'm making progress, and it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. It's never going to lie perfectly smooth because it's grabbing some ribbon underneath there. So you can see from the side that each layer is going over the ribbon before it, so that none of the silver of the bangle is showing. It's completely covered. So now when we get back to the beginning, we're going to go over the part that we glued in the beginning. We just go over that a little bit. So we cover up that seam. And then I'm going to trim this fabric, or this ribbon. And then I'm going to put one more drop of our fabric glue right on top of our ribbon end and just flatten it down. With this glue, you have to hold it maybe for a minute for it to set up. So you're going to continue wrapping your bangles until you have all your bangles wrapped in all your colors of ribbon. The next step is to wrap your ribbon wrapped bracelet with wire. And to do that, we have about a 30-inch piece of wire. You may not need that much, but it's nice to have extra tails. It gives you more to work with. And so we're going to start by creating a tail. This is a tail. And we'll come back and deal with that when we're done wrapping. And I'm going to take the wire and just wrap it around the bracelet, just like we did with the ribbon. But I'm doing like 3 wraps in a row, and then I'm going to pause to put on a bicone. So we've got the bicones here that match the color of our ribbon, and this is maybe a 3mm one. I'm just going to slide it on to the end, and then I'm going to hold it in place and continue to wrap. So there's no real trick to getting the bicone to stay on the bracelet. There's a trick to keeping the bicones from flying around. You guys go over here. Okay. I'm going to do 3 more wraps around the bracelet with the wire. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to put on another bicone. So I'm just going to pull the tail there and slide the bicone on. Slide it all the way down to the end. And again, I'm just going to hold it in place and continue wrapping 3 more times. You don't have to worry too much about the spacing. You automatically space it pretty much right. And it doesn't matter anyway because all the bracelets are going to be stacked up together. No one's analyzing your work to make sure it's perfect. So I'm going to put on another bicone. If I can find the end, there it is. Slide that one down there. Hold it in place. You don't have to put bicones on all of them. Some of the bracelets, if you want, you can just wrap with the wire without the bicones. And that way you can have more bracelets, but for the amount of money for just bicones for maybe 5 of the bracelets. Because that's going to be your most expensive element. These are Swarovski crystal bicones. We just got those at the jewelry store. At one of our local bead store carries those. You could also make some of these bracelets to stack in your mix that don't even have wire on them. They could just be wrapped with the ribbon. 1, 2, 3. Come around, and I have one more bicone to go. See how that works out? I put on my last bicone, slide that down, and then I'm going to go around a couple more times so I meet up with my tail here. Remember that tail that we started with? I'm going to go around and around. So now we're going to do our last wrap, and now we've met back up with our tail from before. You remember our old friend the tail? We're going to ignore that tail for now, and to add our charm, we're going to make a wrapped loop in this long wire. This is the wire we were already wrapping with all the way around. To make a wrapped loop, we're going to use our round nose pliers and pinch the wire, ignoring that tail. That's not here, that's nowhere. I'm going to wrap the wire around the round jaw of the pliers, and I'm going to reposition the pliers so I can continue to wrap all the way around, so I get a nice round loop in my wire. There's my loop. Now I need to wrap it, but first, and don't forget, we want to put on our charm. So I'm going to slide the charm on here. This charm is a cute little elephant, and I'm just going to slide him around because that loop is still open. We haven't wrapped it yet. Now he's in the loop, and then I take my chain nose pliers, which are flat instead of round, and I'm holding that loop so I don't lose the shape of it. And then I'm just going to wrap this long tail of wire. Oops, let me hold that one more time. Just going to wrap this long tail around the wire 2 times. So that's 1. Let me show you what that looks like. It went around there once. This is me holding the loop again flat and wrapping the wire around 1 more time. So that's 2 wraps. So now you can see there's 2 tiny little wraps in there, 1, 2. I'm going to use my wire snips. These are flat on one side, so I put the flat side up against the project. I just cut it very close. But we're not done yet, because if we let it go, this is just hanging here loose. And what about that tail? Well, with the tail, we're going to come around and do 2 wraps around this piece that we just made. And to do that, again, I'm going to hold that loop flat, and this time I'm going to take the tail from the other side and wrap it around the base. So it goes around the bottom. If you overlap the loops that you did before, that doesn't matter. If they all line up and you have 4 loops side by side, that's good. But no one's really going to look at this closely. You're going to have all these bracelets. This does not need to be perfect. So that's gone around twice, and then I cut that close. And then as a last step, it's a good practice just to mush down on the ends, the cut wires, so that you don't have any pieces sticking up that might poke you. I just flatten that down, and there's a complete bracelet. When you have all of those in all your different colors, you can stack them up so that they're going in the order of the rainbow, and then you'll have a whole arm party of ribbon wrapped bracelets.